We're back for another exciting episode of The Spicy Life. I am your relationship expert and magnetic matchmaker, Spicy Mari. And to join me in the G-Spot, that's guest spotlight, don't get scared, BJ, I have the incredible, the amazing Brian Johnson. The crowd goes wild for you. You guys, BJ is a longtime friend, but let me give you a little backstory about him. He is a coach, a consultant, founder of Live Your Dreams Out Loud Media Incorporated, former Emmy Award-winning TV producer, and an Amazon #1 best-selling author, okay? And the host and inspirational speaker of a multitude of things. But I'm so grateful to have him here in the G-Spot with me because he's going to share a lot about dreams. All right, today's episode is how do we turn our nightmares into dreams? I've kind of been living in one for a while. I'm finally out of it thanks to BJ. I'm going to give you a little bit more backstory on that in a second, but I got to warm him up. All right. So in order to warm you up, I always start with my spice breaker.
Yeah.
You get to tell us, when is the first time you fell in love with yourself?
Ooh.
When is that moment that you were like, oh my God, I'm lovable. I'm a badass. I'm incredible. I think I love me.
I think this is going to be shocking.
Okay.
March of last year.
Oh, this is shocking because that's very recent. You're like yesterday.
Yeah, March of last year. I just had some personal hurdles and some personal trials that I had to go through. It's like that Bible verse of, as a child, as I thought as a child, I understood as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And there were just things in my life that were not serving me that I had just become a victim of, you know, and it was nobody else's fault but mine. And I just wasn't loving myself. I thought I loved myself, but I wasn't loving myself properly. So I would say it was, I turned 41.
Okay.
And I'm 41. No, 40. I turned 40. And that's, yeah.
But I feel like there's this like light bulb moment when you're like, dang, I'm not doing something right. Or, you know, you said you're going through things.
Yeah.
How did you flip the switch? How did you turn it into, I love me again, I'm incredible?
I think the number one, God at the forefront. A lot of times in life, it takes that life moment, that life-defining moment. Something has to happen before we take action. And I had something personally and professionally happen to me where I really had to go deep within and look at myself and not accuse anybody else. It's about me taking accountability and responsibility. No matter how I got here, no matter who did what, it was me. And so this whole time, you know, I had a lot of trauma, a lot of dad issues, things growing up, things I've been in therapy for 15, 20 years. But like there come bouts and times where I thought I was loving myself, but I purely, truly wasn't loving myself. And it was me getting stripped again in certain ways to really get granular and specific about why I wasn't loving myself. So something happened personally and professionally and took me down that rabbit hole. And it's just been one of the crazy, I don't want to say the crazy thing is, but I had prayed to God and I said, God, I want to go to another level in life. I want to get closer to what you have for me. Remove anything or anybody that's not got me closer to you and what you want from me.
Ooh.
And through that came everything else. And it's the first time I really, really, truly had to look at myself and get rid of all the noise, tune out every single thing, and go deep within.
You know, I want to know what happened personal and professionally, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about it off camera. We'll talk about it off camera. Yeah.
You won't give it to me on camera?
I mean, some tea
a
is
little
that.
Taste, a little taste.
A little.
Just so that, you know, as an audience, we're not wondering, like, dang, what happened to him?
Yeah. So if you catch the nugget, I said as a child, as I thought as a child, I understood as a child when I became a man. So just as a man, I just wasn't truly living with my true values and intent. I wasn't being honest and straightforward with somebody that I was seeing. And that really hit me dead smack in the face. You know what I'm saying? And so that, it's like you're out here in the world and you're in the world, you're in your human, but you ain't operating in the spirit. You're not being truthful. You're not being honest. You think you're a great person and doing these things, but you got that one little thing that's causing you here and you don't really see it as such an issue, but like it really is bigger than what you really can conceive and fathom. And that was the thing, you know, and it really, man, it took me back for sure. And I've been doing more work than I've ever done in my life. Like, honestly, at that particular point in time, my business had the biggest shift where I had to let go of some things and some people and some clients that were not tied to where I was wanting to go.
Yeah.
And so all the newness now that's come in is a true reflection of the work that I've done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
but the clients that I had before were not a reflection of who I am today.
Wow.
You
So
know?
there was a shift relationship wise, a shift like career wise that needed to take place.
I was definitely in that dark night of the soul space.
Yeah.
You know, I was definitely in that dark night of the soul. I had not been to church in like 8 years. I had gotten away from like my spiritual walk, my foundation, my faith, and who I am. And the truth of the matter, like I said, it's nobody else's fault. It's like, it's my fault for me personally. And so I had to grow through that journey. I feel like we don't never go through anything. We grow through everything.
Yeah.
You know? And so life is about growth. Life is about elevation. And so I had to elevate. Like, I got to a point in life where the way that I was, like, if you want to give like a basketball analogy, a sports analogy, my play wasn't working anymore. You know, I had to run a different play. Like, my play had gotten to the point where like I could only go so far.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go any further. And when I had that surrender to God, like, hey, listen, like, I know that like something's not right.
Yep.
I want to get right. I want to do this right. And so that full surrender and prayer.
This was your like, Lauryn L., how you gonna win if you ain't right within moment?
Man, that's one of my favorite. Like, I want to give you one of those. Like, that's one of my favorite lines. Like, how you gonna win when you ain't right within?
Okay,
you know?
so this brings me to what like I promised you guys I would share. I did not ghost you guys. However, I did take time for myself. BJ has been a part of my coming out of my nightmare, okay? In previous episodes, you guys will hear me talk about maybe jealousy that I had like in my partnership, or me being in like this dark place. What I wasn't clear around was what I was actually experiencing which was postpartum symptoms, but then also my own actual depression of having dreams, then accomplishing dreams, not knowing where to go from there after I have now the career, the baby, the husband, what's next, feeling stuck. And that became a nightmare for me. And so if you listen to previous episodes, you guys might even hear me like venting about some of the things that are going on. And while you're wondering what's going on with Spicy, I'm wondering what's going on with me. Went back to therapy, still went and got like astrology reading, went to my pastor, like trying to check off all these things that usually will like bring me out of my depression.
Yeah.
This one happened to be the longest that I'd ever been in. I've been like funks before, but I was in this like super long one.
Yeah.
Winds up having a conversation with a best friend who was like, I don't got nothing for you. I can't save you. I don't have any words of wisdom. I'm hurting too. She's like, the only thing that has been working for me is talking to God. And I was like, oh, that's what it freaking is. I haven't been having conversations with God. Yeah. I've been over here having conversations with a 2-year-old. He's 3 now. I've been having conversations with my husband, having conversations with friends, but not my Father in heaven. And I think that was when I had to do my cry on the floor, raindrops hit my head in the shower. Lord, forgive me. Let's repair this relationship. Weight became lifted once I actually started putting things into place that I felt like were holding me back. Reason why I reached out to you is because there was all these things that I was saying, like I wanted to do, but I was feeling stuck and not making any moves. So me as a coach, I had to actually implement things that I know could move me forward in areas that weren't my expertise. Yeah. And I'm sure the entire world is tired of hearing about me talk about like my book, when am I going to finish this book? Well, I just happen to have an expert friend in writing and coaching who told me 12 years ago that I needed to write a book. My butt over here doing everything else but writing, researching, going back to school, radio, TV, and still not having written this. And finally I had a moment where I like humbled myself. I reached out to you and I was like, hey, I know you've been on me about this for years now. Please come and help me. So that's the back. That's where I've been, you guys. And I'm now ready. BJ has helped me out of that funk. I have cried on his shoulders about this book. I have called him crying about friendship problems, called him crying about different things that I'm experiencing in my moments of darkness. I called you even while I was, you guys, I booked a show in this process. That's also where I've been. But in my funk, I wasn't even able to like be happy about it because of that darkness. And I realized that it was like, I wasn't seeking first God's approval. I wasn't having conversations with him about my decision making. And I also wasn't pouring into myself. I was not loving on myself. I was loving everybody else, but not me the way that I should. And so I thank you for investing in our relationship and also in the potential that you always saw in me, even when I didn't see it.
Absolutely. You know, that's a part of being a dreamer. Number one, thank you for saying that. And I think it's just so beautiful to see you on your journey. You know, we got to give ourselves some grace. We all on this journey of life. Like nobody has it figured out, you know? Nobody has this thing figured out. And every single day that we wake up, the biggest thing that we can do is just be grateful. You know, thank you, God, is the first thing that I always utter out of my mouth. Thank you, God, because somebody didn't wake up. Somebody literally passed away in their sleep. Somebody is going to die today. And like, we want to be grateful for every single thing. So I say, first, give yourself some grace. You a whole mom, you a whole wife, you a business owner. You got a lot of friends. You got so much in life. You're stretched in a lot of different ways. And so to see you at this point, I've always seen it in you. I mean, this right here is the manifestation of you and the work that you've done. And I think sometimes because we're in this internet culture, this world, we see so much, we have so many different downloads, and like nothing is really enough for us. And we just keep moving from thing to thing to thing to thing. And it's kind of like the shiny object syndrome, so to speak. And it's like, look what you're built. Look what you've done. Look who you are. Look where you're going. And so I've always seen that into you. So I'm like the kind of person, like I'll sprinkle something on you, like, because I'm a visionary and I'm always looking for the greater good in people. And I see that in you. I see it in you. And I'm just like, hey, listen, you might want to do this. But I know you were not ready. But at the same time, I'll come back to what we started with. Maybe I wasn't ready to receive you. Maybe there had to be a clearing, so to speak, for me energetically to be able to connect with you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, if you were in your space dealing with what you had to go through, you had to clear some stuff too in order to get to me. So our energies collided whenever it was time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful within itself. And we're here, and man, listen, I'll tell you this, every client for the most part that I start working with, they always get hit with the message that they're trying to bring forth to the world when they start on their book. It's like, oh, you got to walk it like you talk it, right? You got to truly walk it. Like, you want to live this message? Is it really about you living a spicy life? Do you understand that this book is going to be available around the world? Do you understand what you're getting ready to step into? You have a responsibility. If not, you're doing humans, like I always say this, like your book is your legacy. You got the day that you were born, you got that dash. That book is a part of that dash, and it will live in perpetuity beyond you. Like, your book is your legacy piece.
Yeah.
You know, we're not playing small out here, and you're playing a different game. And I believe in you so much because you believe in yourself. If you didn't believe in yourself, I wouldn't even be wasting my time with you. So I know what you're doing. I'm proud. The book is amazing. I can't wait for y'all to get it and bring it out. She's undervaluing herself. Like, listen, that book is amazing. She put a lot of work into it. We be on Zooms and like her husband's in the background. You know, we sitting there, my project manager's there, and we're just trying to figure out titles and go back and forth. But the book is amazing. The subject matter, I don't want to give too much away. The whole acronym, how you go into everything, the stories, like everything is so good. And people need that. People need you. You are a true blessing to this world. I'm just grateful to be here and be with you and just be moving this agenda forward.
So for people who are a lot like me, right? I have a lot of my listeners and viewers who are what I call like alpha queens, or very strong A-type personality, right? It's why I'm so good at also like teaching how to submit, how to be in their feminine, because I've like mastered the art of shifting and pivoting.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I see coming up for me is this, like, I need it to be perfect. I need it to be a game changer. And if it's not, I feel like that's somewhat debilitating me in a way. Walk me through how these strong personalities get out of that mindset, because I feel like sometimes that holds me back.
Yeah. I think a lot of times it's fear. You know, it's deeply rooted into fear. And you got to get deeper into why that's the case. You know, why do you want things to be perfect? The only perfect person is God. Like, that's the only perfect person. That's the only perfect thing. You will never be perfect in your life. And so it's really getting to the root of why that's the case. Because I think sometimes we just want to, you know, I want everything to be perfect. Why is that the case? It could be traced back to an experience that you had in the 5th grade or something that happened that's deeply rooted there. So a lot of times, even when you come to me, like, we got to unpack some stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Book coaching turns into therapy.
You know what I mean? And it does. Like, you got to unpack some stuff. But it's a lot of times it's fear. It's really like knowing that you're getting ready to step out into this whole space. Like, you don't want to be vulnerable. There are some things there that you're not really ready to share, but you're trying to push and force yourself there. So you being that A-type personality, that's how you were created. That's one of your superpowers, right? That's a strength of who you are.
Yes,
that's, you know, the things that I see you, you know, disseminate and break down as the way that you coach, the things that you say. Like, you've given me more advice more than you realize, like relationship and life. just by some of the experiences and the way that you see things and the way that you see life and being that A-type personality. So I appreciate it so much. But then when you come over here for this book, it's like, let's take some of that and let's take some of this and let's put it together. Because a lot of times people are just afraid. They're like, oh, I don't know if my writing's going to be the same. Maybe I'm not big enough. I'm not famous enough. Or maybe I'm not sure. I'm not ready that my mom or somebody's ready to hear what it is that I got to say. Or maybe I don't think that my book is going to sell or not. So you have all these fear projections going on. And we know what the acronym for fear is, like false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of times your ego's in it. And as Wayne Dyer would say, your ego's not always a bad thing, but sometimes ego is edging God out. And so you're edging God out of the process being fearful, and God is not fearful. So we have to be completely rooted into the foundation that any and everything is possible. And if you know that God has the plans for you that before you even created and born, that's where you got to live at. There's no fear. I'm the dreamer. God gave me the dream for a reason. God gave you dreams. We got to take these passions, these talents, and our dreams, and that fuels the purpose of who we are. You know what I'm saying?
What does live your dreams out loud mean?
So
break that down.
If you break that down, I didn't even know this. I was completely oblivious. This is just truly me channeling the energy that was coming out of me. So live is more about life. What does life mean? We just show up and participate in life, and we have no construction, no foundation of what this is. We were just told to be this certain way. We grew up in environments where our parents, they got their own stuff. I grew up in Skipperville, Alabama, population of 600 people. The life that I was living was not really conducive to where I wanted to go, but that's where God placed me at, right? So live is really about life, understanding what life is about. Because I think it's kind of hard to move in life if you don't really understand what life is. And that's subjective, because at the end of the day, everybody has their own perspective. We're all different. But like, there has to be some routinely fundamental things about life. Your is about you. Who are you? So once you understand what life is, once you understand who you are, you get to the point of what your dreams are, and then out loud is about you taking action. So it's life, understanding who you are, what those dreams, those talents, how does that lead you to a deeper meaning of your purpose? And then what does it mean to take action on those things? And so that's what Live Your Dreams Out Loud means.
Okay. So we know this is what live your dreams out loud means. If someone doesn't feel like, and this is the point also of this episode, if someone doesn't feel like they are living their dreams, right? And a lot of people get to that, they're like, this is not the life that I wanted for myself. This is not what I expected. I should be further ahead. Like, how do they reconcile that, and what should they do about that?
Forgive yourself first and foremost. It's okay if you don't know. You don't have to have everything figured out. But I always think that, like, really analyzing what your passions are. Like, what are some of the things that you're really passionate about, the things that you do really easily? I think your passions breed or lead you to what that dream is. And so you just have to stay consistent and show up for yourself. The truth of the matter is, because where we are in this life, there are so many variables, and people want to sit here and compare their life to this and that. And it's just like, you're truly not even living your life. You don't even know who you are. You're just a representative showing up, but you want to live somebody else's life. So you're truly not even being authentic to who you are. So if somebody is stuck, I would say, man, just reevaluate what your passions are, reevaluate the things that you do really easily that come to you naturally, and that will seed you to your dreams, ultimately.
One of the rebuttals to that, though, is always, I'm sure you get this all the time, I don't have the time. I don't have the resources, right? I can't afford to leave my, 9 to 5 and, invest in my entrepreneurship or invest in my book or what do you say to those people who feel like they don't have the time or the money?
So, you and I both are a part of fraternities and sororities. And,
what are excuses?
The divine, what are excuses? And so we know that excuses are tools of the incompetent that build monuments of nothingness. Those that who specialize in them seldomly do accomplish anything.
Yep.
So that's an excuse. Time is the biggest commodity that we have. You can always find time, whether that's you waking up an hour early, going to bed an hour late. Like, not saying, like, listen, a lot of people come to me and say, listen, I don't have the money to write a book, but I want to write a book. Okay, cool. All right, well, you don't have the money. You don't have to have the money to get started. A lot of people, when I first started, I didn't have the money either, but that's an excuse. So what did we start doing? We pre-sold the book. you're going to go to a concert, right? The concert hasn't
They
happened
don't
yet.
sell tickets the day of. That's a good point.
You start pre-selling. And so just the little tidbit nuggets that I did when I didn't necessarily have money. A good book, by the way, by Damon John, friend of mine, The Power of Broke. Man, such a great book. It shows you how to be resourceful. It tells you about being resourceful. But it's an excuse saying that you don't have the time or the money. At the end of the day, if you want to get something accomplished, you will. You will put faith. We have faith that we're sitting in this chair right now and that it's going to hold us up. So you'll put more faith in this chair holding you up than you do in yourself. Every day you get in your car, you have faith that the car is going to get you to your destination in places where you have to go. So I think that we have a lot of excuses on the front end, and that is because we truly don't know who we are. So that goes back to the whole notion of living your dreams out loud. You understand life, you understand who you are, you get that foundation. You get that foundation. And Ricky Smiley had this analogy one time, and he was talking about baking a cake. He was like, if you take all the ingredients, I think he said a pound cake, like if you take the vanilla extract, the egg and the flour, all of those things, if you taste them individually in this raw, purest form, they don't taste good. They don't taste good. But if you take them all and put it in there, you put it inside that oven and it gets cooked and it comes out, that's when it tastes the best. So we look at all these life experiences. Some of these experiences, if we look at them individually, they don't taste good. You know, we get hit with it left and right. Sometimes you got to get cooked. You need to get cooked. You need to be in that oven. You need to be going through trials and tribulations, and you need to be grateful for those trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
And when they come out, you know, it's some of the best pound cake ever.
Do you find, because it's probably similar, I don't know, it might be similar to my situation as a coach. Do you find in your coaching profession that people don't come to you until they're at their like breaking point and they don't know what else to do? They've tried everything and now they're like, oh, I'm stuck. I need you. Or do you get people when they're thriving and they're the best and they're like, I'm at my ultimate? When you, what stage of people's life do you usually get them?
It's a little bit of both, but it's normally the first one that you mentioned.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's what we do. We're coaches, and when people have challenges in life and they're going through these catastrophic emotions and events, it's like we're supposed to be the people that are solutions. And I feel grateful for that, because at the end of the day, you know how much energy it takes to coach somebody. Like, I have to do so much work on myself just to be able to coach.
Yes.
And then when I'm done talking to you, sometimes I got to go to the gym and get your energy off of me, you know? And sometimes I'm talking to 3, 4, 5 clients a day. So I'm taking on different energies, and that's real. But I meet people in different phases. Just depends on where they are. I will say the best clients that I've, just from my experience, are the ones that are that though. Like, they want to do the work. They got to show up and do the work. I'm not having to force them to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've hit that Truman Show's boat. Like, they hit their glass ceiling, right? And they just can't go any further. They don't know what direction to go. But a lot of times we as coaches, it's just our job to kind of sit back and just rearrange. The potential's already there. They're already coming to you. So that's a win within itself. We just need to rearrange. And like, at the end of the day, they're humans and they're adults, and I'm not here to babysit you.
Yeah.
I'm here to coach you to success.
I think that we're blessed with confidence. I don't think that everybody has been nurtured into self-belief.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people are born into homes where they didn't receive love, where they weren't affirmed, where they weren't encouraged, and they weren't supported. Yeah. For people who are in this, season of their life where they're like, dang, I know I want more, but I've never seen it. I've never had this support. Yeah. What do you suggest for people like that who haven't experienced half of the things that we've experienced in life?
Yeah, I think it's about getting started, and that sounds so cliche. And you have to be consistent and committed. You know, commitment's hard for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And committing to yourself is the biggest act of self-love that you can give yourself.
Facts.
Committing to yourself and being consistent. And it's those small wins, those micro wins every single day, waking up, understanding, having your daily habits, having a routine, having your values in place, knowing what your non-negotiables are. I think you get to the point where you start those micro things and you start building, and it gets to that point where it will build that self-confidence and it will overcome the laminations of how you disrespect yourself and the negativity that you put into your mind. And a lot of times environmentally, just what we consume. You know, like I don't have no friends in my life that's on some negative talk. I'm not watching anything negative. Like I'm just not even in that space. So you have to be careful what you consume too as well.
Oh my gosh. I tell my clients this when it comes to their relationship goals. If the goal is to be in partnership with a gentleman or a woman, and you know you're looking forward to a healthy relationship, somebody telling you that there's no good men and there's no good woman in your ear, that's not going to pour into your spirit in the right way. So the same way I tell my clients, you need to protect your energy. You need to protect who you're exposing yourself to, because if they're making withdrawals and not deposits into your love cup, we've got a problem.
So I got a question for you then. I know this is your podcast, but I get this a lot, and I'm just curious because I hear a lot of women say in a lot of the cities across the country, there's just not a lot of good men.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hear that notion, I cringe, but at the same time, I have empathy because I'm not a woman and I don't know. So I want to take that and respect that. But I feel like that's low level vibration.
It is.
I feel like that's a lack of faith, but I have to understand, I have to respect that perspective. But I feel like it's just such a low level vibration, and there's so much that you're just accepting and acknowledging without necessarily taking a step back and pulling the lens down to look at it from a different perspective. And that's why so many women need you, because every woman that I know a lot of great women.
Yeah.
I know a lot of great men. And just because you're a great man and great woman, that doesn't mean you're great for somebody.
Yep.
Right? But I know a lot of great women out there, and I hear so many women like, just not even good men out there.
Yeah, and their experience has maybe been poor experiences, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many layers to that, okay? They have a negative experience. Now, we don't know if she's done the work or he's done the work, but they have a negative experience. That penetrates, starts creating a vibration. The vibration is created off of the thoughts and the emotions that now turn into a belief.
Yeah.
That belief now dictates the behaviors of how they're going to act on a daily basis, therefore repeating the cycle of what it is that they're most afraid of. When it comes to relationships and dating, I like to use the 20-door analogy of, if I have my standards, my non-negotiables, my boundaries, the things that I'm looking for and the things that I know I will be happiest and most compatible with.
Yeah.
But you don't. There's 20 doors. I'm going through each one. Once I open up that door, if it is a person who is not aligned with me, I close that door, I move on to the next door. Let's just say you stop at door number 2 or door number 3 for several years, and you never move on to the next door knowing that this person is not aligned with you. Who is going to get to their purpose mate first? Me, because I'm like, this is not for me. This is not for me. This is not for me. Meanwhile, you're stuck at door number 3 because you're afraid that if I give this up, I'll have nothing. And I'm like, boo-boo, but there's 17 other doors that you need to go through in order to. But we also are under the idea, based on what we expose ourselves to, like social media or, the ear of our friends or TV or, rom-coms, that it's supposed to look and feel a certain way. We don't believe that it's supposed to be all of this work. We don't believe that there should be 20 tests and 20 doors that we have to go through. We just want it to be easy.
Yeah.
And I even relate to that because I wish this book would just be easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to
you
go through the growing
book talk
pains.
right now. You giving away some of these principles in the book. I'm like, I've heard that before.
I know. I probably need to add that to the book. But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's at the moment that you see this is not healthy, right? This is not aligned for me. I move on and I go to the next. And so the reason why that woman's experience may be, there's no good men, is because she's allowing herself to stay exposed to no good men. Where if she's like, okay, you weren't for me, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. We have to keep that optimism. We have to keep that hope until we get to the good ones that exist. Because unfortunately, that's not my experience. I know incredible men. You're one of them, right? A man who takes accountability, a man who self-reflects, a man I know a lot of these men, but it's because I don't allow male or female friends into my circle that are toxic or that are unhealthy, or, even if you guys have wounds, okay, but are we working on the wounds? Because Lord knows I'm working on my wounds.
100%.
We got to be both working on our wounds, or you're going to make me more wounded.
Absolutely. Woo! She just gave y'all a lot, That's so good, though. I listened to something earlier, and it said perspective breeds performance. And if the perspective is flawed and wrong, it's really how you're going to perform, how you show up, how you think. perspective breeds performance. And a lot of what you just said right there is so good, man. You know?
So I love that. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, you can have it.
He just gave you a spicy tip right there. Perspective breeds performance. This is aligned with my method, right? The thoughts and the emotions and beliefs lead to the behaviors. So perspective breeds performance. That is aligned with when I coach my clients about if we're going into a party and I tell myself that I'm about to meet like three good guys when we walk in. You tell yourself, like, there's not going to be any women when I get there. They're all going to suck. They're all going to be whack. I'm so tired of dating in LA. Just from my thought process alone, I'm more likely to meet people than you are because you went into it with a negative perspective.
That intention.
Remember back in the day when we used to be like trying to get into the club? I went with the mentality of, I'm getting in. I'm about to have bottle service with my friends.
I'm not waiting
in no lines. If you go, and I know this sounds entitled and crazy, but if you go in with that mentality, you're more likely to manifest that because I'm going to behave and move in a way with that expectation
100%.
Versus the person who's like, well, I'm going to just wait in this line behind these 100 people and let's just see if I'm able to get it. Like, it works that way with everything.
Yeah, that's, at the end of the day, that's just deeply rooted faith, faith and belief. We, like I said, going back to earlier, like we believe in other things. We have faith in other things. But a lot of times we have trouble having faith and belief in ourselves.
Yeah.
Either we don't have a source, either our environment, we have a lot of trauma, things that we actually haven't dealt with. If you look at it, like we are living in the most opportune time right now in the history of existence. Like we got access to all the information.
This is true.
We know what trauma is. We know what the pains and the problems and the things, like we got access to the information.
Facts.
If you just show up and do the work.
Yeah.
Show up and get to this point. I got a new book coming out.
Ooh.
And it's called The Reset. Because I feel like at the end of the day, when you think about what has happened and transpired in life, we all need a reset.
Yeah.
And we all can have a reset at any point in time. If your phone's not working, what do? You give a hard reset.
For sure.
If your computer's not working, you give a hard reset. And as the acronym, the R is realization. And realization goes so deep. Realizing who you are as a person, why you're here.
Yeah.
What is it that you're meant to do? Who am I? Why am I here? What am I meant to do? That realization is so tied to your purpose because a lot of times we just go out here in life and don't even know who we are. We just keep showing up as what we've been taught, what we've been told, and that's just not what it is. Like we are living in the most opportune time right now when if we just do the work, if we just get really granular and specific about who we are and put a plan and strategy in place, man, we'll go to new heights.
So how has the culture of media hurt or helped us when it comes to living our dreams out loud?
Well, I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of comparison, right? You see so many people feeling validated for being heard, right? And when it comes to living the dream, a lot of people start looking at what other people are going to say. And so I think it prevents you from getting started. You don't necessarily have the clarity, right? You're just so infused and ingratiated into the toxicity of the media.
Yeah.
Right. There's so much negativity out there, and like you're a part of the negativity that it prevents you from even getting started. A lot of people, why clarity is the first step, is because you don't have the clarity. You're not clear. And a lot of that is tied to your upbringing, who you are as a person, what you've been exposed to, your limiting beliefs. So even in our coaching, a lot of what you have to do is you got to unpack a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so getting clarity and getting clear, that is like so top up there. But I think when it comes to the media and the landscape today, the media is giving everybody a voice. You and I from the school in the era where that's not even the case.
You just have to be professionally trained to have a mic in your hand.
100%. And you from the old school, don't say old school, but you're from
no,
the
it's
school.
okay. I did terrestrial radio for a very long time. I'm like, do you
it.
know what it took to get a mic in my hand?
100%.
Yeah.
And you did it. And so you know what it's like, right? But I just think it's so toxic. I think it prevents people from getting started. But I think also, too, if we just reframe that whole narrative, like this is such a beautiful time. You can really use your platform for the greater good, right? You can really build a true audience and travel the world and speak based on you just getting started if you got access to the information. And so it's so easy. Anybody can start a podcast. I mean, you literally just need your phone. You don't need nothing else because the mics and the audio and the camera and everything, you can extract that, put it up on YouTube. You can do it just like that. So what's our excuse? You know what I mean?
Well, that I can speak to. I think it's the like, oh, well, if it doesn't look the way that I want it to, it doesn't, it's going to embarrass me or it's not going to represent me well. If it's not quality, I don't want it. And I was guilty of like putting out some stuff that I wasn't proud of to begin with.
But you got started though.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. So many people are afraid of being seen. Like you and I've been guilty of it too. You don't want to be seen starting small. You've worked with every celebrity, every person in the world. You've seen what's possible. You just don't want to be seen starting small.
Yeah,
so you never get started.
Yep.
Right? And so it just keeps getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. You want to do it a certain type of way. And that's just like, yo, at the end of the day, you playing with God, man. You better stop. You know?
You just said something that clicked for me there.
You playing with God. You got to stop. And something I learned recently, and I was in my moments of studying, because we're not a publishing company per se. We are a coaching and producing company. Like I don't take any royalties from anybody's books. I haven't done any of that. And we're getting ready to shift to creating our own books up under my own publishing imprint, right? And we may take some people that we might invest into to actually take their books to another level, right? But I got to test it out on myself first in my own imprint.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, as I'm going through, looking at some things and doing some research, one thing I stumbled across, and I think this is so good. I mean, we could end the episode on this. It's so good. When God wanted to get his message across, where did he put it at?
When he wanted to get his message across?
When
the Bible?
God wanted to get his messages across, where did they go?
Oh, the Bible, yeah.
Into, what is that?
A book.
Okay.
Oh.
God was a content creator.
Jesus was a content
creator. He'd been creating content out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now he got all these affiliates and people out here that the one thing, the messages that we still use to this day and reference is a book. And a book will stand the test of time forever.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just thought that was so good. I was like, well, to me, it was good.
No, that is good. I'm like, dang, because we didn't have social media back then. His miracles were not performed on my timeline.
Well, it's a different form of social media.
Well, you know what? Me and my friend were laughing because I was like, dang, how did Jesus get so popular? And she was like, well, he had apostles. And I was like, oh, the apostles help spread the word. Those are kind of like your followers in a sense when they repost you. And I was like, we have the modern day 100%. Social, but he did have some of that back then.
100%. And you're going to hear me like, listen, just for where I am now in my life, man, like God is just at the helm. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't at the helm, and God he was a part of my life, like number 3 or 4, but he wasn't the greatest part of my life. And now it's like every action for me. And listen, I'm human. I make mistakes. I sin. I do wrong. I'm not like out here. I'm not preaching like that. But for me, my intention is completely different now. Like it's deeply rooted into my faith and in God. You know what I mean? So God's now the greatest part of my life. And every decision that I make now, I'm like, yo, is that what he wants me to do?
Yeah.
So it's a lot different.
You got to ask that question.
100%. And like my
what is
life,
this serving?
Who am I serving?
Yeah.
Am I serving dark? Am I serving light?
Yep.
Like, who am I serving? Like, all money ain't good money. I can't work with everybody. I got somebody that reached out to me who wanted to probably pay me top dollar, and their book was about some stuff that I just can't get down with. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to take you on as a client because it's not a representation of who I am.
So sometimes you have to make moral decisions.
100%.
Yeah.
Like you can't coach everybody.
Sometimes, yes, I have to turn people down.
Yeah, you can't coach.
I feel you.
Respectfully. No knock at them.
Yeah.
Like, just respectfully, you can't coach everybody. You can't let everybody into your aura, to your circle, to your energy. And like, I just can't coach everybody. Like, and that's okay. I've been so blessed and so fortunate to coach and do it on the level that I do it without even having a website.
That is a good point, because I did go look for your bio on the website. And
never had a website. It's like this is word of mouth and referral, which is the best form of marketing, right?
Word of mouth.
And
for sure.
For me, that's just how I operate. If you come to me, you getting quality.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like the radio.
You're right. I refer people to you all the time now.
Thank you. Yeah, we're finishing up we're finishing that up. Yep. Finishing that up.
I'm like, we're not trying to put people's business out there, but yes, I refer people to you. Okay, so in this, like, live your dreams out loud, I want to ask you a relationship question, though.
Yeah.
How important is it one, to be in partnership with someone who is living in their dreams, right? Because I feel like oftentimes we speak to, I want a whole person. I want them done. I want them fully baked. I don't want to take all the ingredients. I don't want to fall in love with potential. But how important is it that the person is already walking in their dreams, in their purpose, or can you get them and have a healthy relationship prior? What is your belief around that?
I think either or. At the end of the day, I think you said the key word. It's got to be partnership, right? And I think that intention from the beginning has to be solidified and deeply rooted into communication to understand what your values and your non-negotiables are. Because I've been in those relationships where I was not valued, that I was told that these dreams are pipe dreams, and I didn't feel supported. So it automatically made me resent you and automatically made me revert to the darkness and the BS that I shouldn't have been doing because I didn't feel respected or resented. But that goes to show that I didn't even respect myself because I would go out and do something I didn't have no business doing. So it's not on said person. But I think partnership is the key. Partnership, truth, honesty, and just understanding what that is before you get into anything, right? Like I want my partner to understand maybe I can't spend all my time with you, right? Like I have to work. And sometimes it's 18-hour days, right? And sometimes I need 2 hours at the gym for myself based on the clients. And that's not a reflection of you. But what I will do is I'll make sure that like I place the time and the energy towards you where I put that phone up and it's not anything but me and you. And I prioritize you. But you got to have that partner who understands that. And if you don't communicate that, then you're going to be doomed from the start. So communication, this more than anything, communication, sex, and finances, top 3 reasons why people get a divorce. And I think communication is the centerpiece or the nucleus of all of that. So I think just being intentional, understanding who you are as a person, because it's in a partnership, people go into partnerships or they go into these situationships and they don't even know who they are. They don't have a list of things that they want, that they don't want, desire. Sometimes they're completely into the flesh. They're not even they're oblivious to what the truly deeply rooted things is. And what I've learned too more than anything is if you're not friends, if you don't have a friendship
is very important.
Man, so many people skipping straight to let's parlay versus really getting to the core and the foundation of being friends. And I think that's so important too as well.
How can the wrong partner block your dreams?
Ooh, that's like the wrong partner, blocking your dreams with all due respect. That ish is demonic.
Break that down.
That's like a spirit that is preventing you from excelling, doing what God has placed in you to do. So the wrong partner with the wrong energy, with the wrong intention, with the wrong infrastructure of thought, not respecting who you are, that's sinful. You know what I'm saying? These dreams were put into you for a reason. God gave you these dreams for a reason. God gave you these talents and these gifts, even though your talent is what you cultivate, these passions, to get you to that place. Because these dreams, and when you hear that voice, that's our conscious. That's our conscious, and that's just the voice of God. And when we tap into it, that's us being congruent, right, with our conscious. And so the wrong partner being in the way is truly blocking your blessings, right? That can deter and mess up your whole life. And that's just, I've been there before. I've been the wrong partner for somebody that was doing their dreams and what they wanted because I wasn't healed. I had all these immature qualities about myself. I wasn't seeing them for what they were actually telling me that they wanted and they needed. I wasn't hearing them. And, my ears are small, but I hear really well. But I wasn't hearing them for who they are and what they truly wanted. So the wrong partner will deny you your blessings in life, not just your dreams, but your true essence of who you are as a person.
When you have a dream and you're starting to experience a partner that you're I don't know if this person is really going to be successful. You have doubts. What if you have doubts and you're he says he wants to be this, or he wants to start this business, or he's going to create this app, or he's going to drop this album, or he's going to, shift to this career. How does a person, and I want to hear your opinion, stay with that dreamer or let that dreamer go?
Ooh. Ask the question one more time. I want to make sure I answer it in the right way.
If you don't believe in the dreamer that you're with, okay, how do you know to stay or go?
You shouldn't be with them in the first place if you don't believe in them.
That part.
It's kind of hard to push forward in life when I got somebody over here because I have to believe in myself every single day as a dreamer, as the person that's waking up, as an entrepreneur, that's going for it. I'm a man. I'm a black man. I'm out here fighting and dealing with life and all the other ills. I got all the traumas, all the stuff. And you mean to tell me you're not going to believe in me when I have to believe in myself? Belief is what got me to this point. So if you don't believe in me, respectfully, we just need to part ways. Like, it's just never going to work. I don't need anybody in my life who does not believe in me. You need to believe in me more than I believe in myself, because there's gonna be times where I need to lean on you, where I need that support. So not having that supportive belief is paramount. Like, you gotta have somebody in your life that believes you, that supports you, that, hey, listen, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, listen, you got to go to the gym. You need to get up, kicking. You need that just to be responsible.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I'm
that's
saying?
true. Hold you accountable.
And holding you accountable. And I think that's so important. But the wrong partner not believing in you, like, you don't even need to be with that person.
Okay, so this question is more around potential, though. How do you know when it's potential or potential-less?
How do you know if, like, your partner has the potential?
Or potential-less?
The problem is sometimes when you see people that have the potential, you're actually trying to date their potential and not who they currently are.
Yeah.
And so it's important for you to analyze what that is and how that's going to work for you, because you can sit here and try to date potential for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're just dating that potential that never manifested. And you have to have something that's transactional, something that's tangible, right? And I think what's tangible is a person being consistent, being a person of their word, doing what they're going to say. And so you can evaluate a person by how they're showing up in life. Because a person is showing up every single day and they're fighting for it, that person not only has potential, that person has consistency, that person has commitment, that person is a person of their word. That's what you can evaluate, because at some point in time, they're going to hit it.
Yeah.
You know, so dating potential is like, oh, you know, babe, like, yo, I think I want to go out here and do this, but you never doing nothing towards it.
Yep.
You know, that's truly like you just being a talker and like having these pipe dreams. You're
For
not really
sure.
putting any action towards it. So I think you have to evaluate said person, because there have been times in my life where I was completely depressed and I had a lot of great ideas, but
I've been there too.
no tangible action, right? And it's just like, I know a lot of women who have been in my life that have dated me for my potential when I wasn't even happy being myself. I wasn't even loving myself. You know, I opened up my book talking about my 2011. I'm driving on I-285 in Atlanta, and I wanted to end it all. I just wanted to feel numb, right? But there were certain people in my life who saw me for my potential and who I was. So I say all that to say that there were people, friends in my life, who saw me and believed in me more than I was believing in myself.
Yeah.
So having that inner circle was just so important, but having that partner is even more important.
You guys, BJ's over here spitting. I hope y'all are taking notes, because I think it's hard too when you want companionship or you want relationship and you haven't yet achieved the things that you know that you want to achieve, but you also don't want to look like, you know, I haven't made it, I'm not there yet.
Less than.
Yeah, you don't want to look less than. But I think like everybody struggles with that in some area of their life. It's just extremely challenging, because when we take chances on people who aren't showing up with the consistency or the determination, and who, you know, aren't actually like taking action or steps towards their dreams, we put ourselves in this situation where we now become resentful, and we're like, dang, what I signed up for was the guy who was starting his own business. What happened to that? Why are you out here now selling Bitcoin?
Yeah.
So it's like,
hold on, wait, now Bitcoin's a good thing. I done made some money on Bitcoin.
This is not about Bitcoin, but I'm saying, like, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up for you, you know, saying that you were going to start your, you know, your book company. So it's like, you know, it's almost as if, you know, when you don't see them like actually making those strides, and I think those strides are like extremely important. So your point, BJ, I'm so grateful for you. I like to end the show with like this. Let me ask you this really quick. When do you know that you have a reset? Because you said reset's your next book coming up.
Yep.
When do you know that you need a reset?
You need to reset it every day.
Okay.
Every
day we need a reset.
You got to reset your life every single day.
Did you give us the whole acronym for that? Because I want to make sure.
Nope, I don't want to go into it because a lot of it is some of it is still being developed.
It's still coming.
But what I will say, I want to go back to something you said real quick about relationship.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we try to get in relationships, we get in relationships with others and we're not even in a relationship with ourselves.
Correct.
Right. And I think you can evaluate, like, when you're seeking out somebody else, like, who are they as a person? Are they in a relationship with their self? Like, not being self-absorbed, but do they have a spiritual foundation? Do they have some kind of spiritual core, something
Yeah.
that anchors them. Are they in a relationship with themselves? Are they prioritizing themselves? Are
Yeah.
they showing up and doing the work on themselves? Therapy, coaching, whatever it is. Like, are they doing some sort of work? And I think a lot of times we just want to get in a relationship. We want to get in a relationship to soothe something in
Oh,
us
for
of
sure,
us
to
not
feel
loving
good.
ourselves, to feel good. And
But that source needs to come from within. It cannot
100.
be dependent on the other person.
100. And a lot of you got a lot of people that's codependent.
Yep.
You know, and they have abandonment issues and they don't want to be by themselves and all of that stuff. And that's a whole nother podcast. But at the end of the day, but I think just being in a relationship with yourself and the creator is important. So that was the answer. I mean, the question that I wanted to answer. And then you said about reset. Every day we need to reset.
Okay.
You're not the same person you were yesterday.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So you and your husband, like one of the things one of my clients, he told me this. His name's Frank. He just released his book, man. Great book. A guy that had a heart transplant, really just came out of it. Like he was on his deathbed, had like 10 minutes to go over finances with his wife. They're taking him to surgery.
Oh my gosh, this is every person's greatest fear. Oh my God.
Cut open his chest, like just crazy. But he said, you know, I get to every single day, I wake up and I'm a new person and my wife's a new person. He said she's not the same person that she was before she went to bed, and I'm not the same person. I got a chance to wake up, which is the biggest blessing. So every day God is resetting us.
Yeah.
So we need to be reset and be intentional about realization. And I'll give you the last T is transformation.
Transformation.
You know, I'll give you those two. And it's like realization and transformation, and there's some stuff in between. But
there's some stuff in between. You got to buy the book
You got to buy the book. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But no, it's a reset. And like, listen, how many times have you've had to reset? You've had to pivot, right?
Yes.
And reset is not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. Like, we are still living pre-COVID. We will never live in the times that before COVID. That is done.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to get out of their comfort zone. They're so accustomed to life being what it is.
Yep.
Like we just don't want to change, grow, and evolve. And at any point in time, relationships, finances, family dynamics, your job, your profession, you have to reset. And so a lot of the things that we're putting into this book is a spiritual foundation of resetting. But at the end of the day, you need to reset every single day.
I love it. Okay, I'm excited for Reset.
Yeah, I'm excited for your book. I don't want to give you the title yet, but I'm excited for it as we're still working on those.
It's coming. It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up. You're gonna give us the naked truth.
Ooh.
Okay, my naked truth question is: you get to travel back to one moment in your life, greatest moment ever. What is that moment?
That's such a good question.
You get to relive it. You don't get to change anything. You only get to relive it.
Oh man, that's such a great question. I'm gonna say, ooh, that's loaded. I get to relive a moment.
Mm-hmm. You get to relive
travel
that moment.
back.
I know. You want to choose me when you met me, but give us the alternative.
Oh man. You know, I'll end this with my mother. I think when my mother, you know, I moved out to LA with $325 in a red suitcase, living the dream. That's why part of the reason why I'm so passionate. I've actually lived this. I've actually coached. I don't just talk about it. It's not just a moniker. It is my message. It's what God gave to me. And so my mother just always told me to keep the faith. And it wasn't until I had a speaking engagement at the Los Angeles Convention Center in front of thousands of people that I feel like the tears that was rolling down her face solidified the fears that she had in me and my journey, going the unconventional route in life. You know, go to college, get this good job, you want me to go out and do this, and I'm completely rebellion against that.
Yeah.
And she finally saw the fruits of the labor of everything that I had invested into. So seeing that and her just literally looking at me and saying, baby, I'm just so proud of you, and you kept the faith.
Yeah.
Like, you showed me something. Like, I birthed you, I created you, but I didn't know you could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, reliving that moment again, like, that's the thing that gives me the most chills, because that woman sacrificed so much for my brother and I,
Yeah.
you know, as a lot of mothers have out here. And she's just, man, man, she's the matriarch of the family, and I love her so much. And that moment of just seeing her see me in my element.
And be like, it was all worth it.
Yeah. You're going to get there. You're going to see. You got the young one coming up. So we'll see.
Okay, BJ, you're going to let everybody know where they can find you, where they can hire you, how can they get a hold of you if they want you, and what to expect.
Man, simple. BJ the Dreamer on Instagram, on any of my socials. My new website, we are building out liveyourdreamsoutloud.com because I can't keep running my play. Like, the demand is going crazy. God is great. So liveyourdreamsoutloud.com. But BJ the Dreamer, Instagram, Twitter, what are those things? TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything's BJ the Dreamer.
I love it. And you guys can always play with my Twitter or stroke my IG at SpicyMari. Go to TheSpicyLife.com. Make sure that you click and subscribe to this episode. Schedule a consultation if you need me. And there you guys have it. You have just been spiced.